Good afternoon. My name is Megan Norris, and today I'm going to be talking about artificial intelligence in the classroom, tools for learning and assessment. So I'm going to start today by talking about ChatGPT. My learning environment for this technology tool is a multimedia computer class at an urban middle school in Southern California. This activity is multidisciplinary, so it will cover standards for eighth grade history, English language arts, and multimedia. And my target audience for this assignment is a class of eighth grade students. So because my intended audience is middle school, I'm going to speak as if I were working with that age group. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So today we're going to be starting a new unit where we're going to be using a new kind of technology called ChatGPT along with iMovie to tell a story. So let's look at our agenda for today. As always, when we start any new unit, we're going to begin by reviewing our objectives for the activity. I expect that this project is probably going to take about a week, but for today, I'm just going to introduce you to what ChatGPT is. And then tomorrow, after we've become a little bit more familiar with what it is, we'll use it to begin the story development process. The rest of our time after that is going to be moving through the production process, taking our narratives from ChatGPT into script writing, story building, editing, and production. For those of you who finish early, I have some extension activities that you can work on, and we will go over those near the end of the project timeline. So let's take a look at our objectives for this project. The what am I learning, why am I learning it, and how will I know that I have learned it? So there's a lot you're going to be learning for this activity, and we have a few questions that we're going to be asking ourselves throughout the process. What impact did the American Civil War have on families? How can I use ChatGPT in a responsible, ethical way to write a compelling story that is also historically accurate? And how will working with others improve my communication and decision making skills? Why are you learning this? Everything needs to have a purpose. Engaging with historical concepts in a storytelling format is going to allow you to make connections to what you're learning on a more personal level. And some of the more difficult facts are going to be a little bit more relatable and more memorable to you. Using ChatGPT is going to facilitate the storytelling process and is going to help you with critical thinking and ethical reflection. So, the difference between right and wrong in what we're doing when it comes to historical accuracy within a narrative text. Using AI or artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT with multimedia software like iMovie is going to build your digital literacy. And finally, when you work with others, it helps you practice your communication skills and it's going to give you the opportunity to engage in constructive feedback with your classmates. At the end of the day, how are you going to know that you learned it? Well, your final product will be to produce an original movie with a group of your peers using iMovie. That movie is going to be based on a fictional narrative that's been written by ChatGPT and is going to reflect the conflicts that families faced while living in the Civil War era United States. So let's begin at the beginning. What is ChatGPT? Well, kind of like I've already said, it's an artificial intelligence or an AI tool. It's super powerful and all-knowing, but it's pretty easy to use once you get the hang of it. Working with ChatGPT is kind of like talking to a computer that can answer your questions, give you ideas, help you translate text. The possibilities are endless. However, it's important to remember that with great power comes great responsibility. We've talked quite a bit in the past about our responsibilities as digital citizens. The way that we interact with ChatGPT puts what we've learned to the test. So here are some of the top tips to remember when you're using ChatGPT. First of all, make sure you research your content before you come to ChatGPT. That way you're prepared with an understanding of what you're learning and you won't be caught by surprise by anything that ChatGPT might come up with. When you do get your information from ChatGPT, make sure you're verifying it. So you're going to have to make sure you fact check it with some reliable sources. because it's not always reliable ChatGPT. Be sure you restate the information that it gives you. That means you're going to want to put the information into your own words, which will help you avoid plagiarism, but it's also going to help you remember the information better. Always remember to cite your sources. You want to make sure that you're giving other people credit for their work. Also, keep in mind that ChatGPT can sometimes give inaccurate information even when it's citing its own sources. Be respectful. If you're using ChatGPT to research people or cultures, make sure you're engaging in a conversation that uses appropriate language and avoids assumptions. We are talking about historical concepts with this particular assignment, so make sure you are aware of multiple perspectives because that will help you present an unbiased view. Think critically. What you're about to use can be an amazing but not perfect tool. Look at that information that it presents to you with a critical lens, making sure that you analyze and evaluate everything that ChatGPT shares with you. Finally, and most importantly, make positive ethical choices. When you're using artificial intelligence, it can be tempting to use it for the wrong reasons. Just make sure that you're using it in a positive way that helps the world around you and keeps you in line with being a good digital citizen. So, what I want to do now is walk you through the steps of either creating an account with ChatGPT or starting your first conversation. Let's look at the flow chart first. Then I'm going to model the steps for you, and after that, I'll have you follow the steps yourself while I walk around and answer any questions that might come up. So we have step 1 where we're going to log in, and then step 2, we're going to use our student Google email to create an account or to log in if we already have one. If this is your first time, you're going to need to sign or tell ChatGPT your birthday as well as your phone number so it can verify that you are real. Once you're in, you can start a new conversation by either clicking on the button that says New Chat in the top left-hand corner or using the Send a Message box at the bottom right. All of the chats that you have are saved in the left sidebar, so you can return to them, edit them, or throw them away if you no longer need them. So let's take a look at ChatGPT. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in here. I've already done this before, so all I need to do is log in. I'm going to continue with Google, and I'm going to use my school email. Now you can see that I have a previous chat already saved. If I click on it, it's going to populate that chat from before. I started with the question, what is ChatGPT? And then realized I wanted a bit more detailed answer. So down in the send a message field, I asked, how can ChatGPT be used in the classroom? So anytime there's an answer that I am not happy with, I can either regenerate it, or I can get new details by asking more detailed questions about that same topic. So again, I can either make an editing choice, like change the title of the saved file, or I can throw it away if I no longer need it. So what I want to do right now is give you the opportunity to explore. So I'm going to be walking around the room while you log in. Once you're logged in, take some time to kind of ask ChatGPT some questions to start a conversation with ChatGPT. You can see here that I've given you some ideas for conversations that you can have. Focus on starting a conversation and then revising what you ask ChatGPT to do so you can practice refining your results. Try a couple of different topics or interests that you might have to research, just so you can get the hang of how to use this new resource. So right now we're not focusing on our actual assignment, we're just exploring this new tool that we have. Okay, so now for my presentation, I'm going to switch gears to part 2, where I'm going to discuss the technology QuestionWell. The learning environment for this portion of the presentation would be a professional development session at an urban middle school in Southern California. The topic of this professional development is how to use QuestionWell as a means of creating comprehension questions for a reading selection. And my target audience is a group of middle school teachers and staff. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our professional development for this Thursday afternoon. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you an AI technology tool called QuestionWell that can be used for assessment, both formal and informal. So on our agenda for today is to talk a little bit about what AI is, and then we're going to go to QuestionWell and create an account. I want to demonstrate for you how to use QuestionWell and give you some time to experiment with it, and afterwards we'll share what we've learned. Our goals for today are to learn how to use artificial intelligence as a means of creating assessments. This is going to cut down on the prep time that we need. As teachers, that's always one of our biggest complaints, is not having enough time, and using this tool will help get some of that back. We're going to integrate these questions into platforms that we already use, like Quizlet, Kahoot, Blicket, Google Forms. And these different platforms create diverse interactive assessment methods and enhance student engagement. And then finally, overall, I just want you to have a better understanding of AI as an educational tool. There are ethical concerns created with it, but it is a very valuable tool when it's used responsibly and in a meaningful way. So QuestionWell is an AI tool specifically targeting teachers who want to create questions based on a reading selection that can be uploaded to a variety of other tools like Forms, Blicket, anything that can be used for both formal or informal assessment. It is a new tool. So being new means that it's not exactly at its best, but that also means that there's room for growth, which is great with any new activity. Um, Even at its most basic, it's still really useful. I've used Blicket, Quizlet, and Kahoot many times over the years, and the most frustrating aspect of those tools is coming up with the questions for those sets. QuestionWell takes away that frustration while also opening up possibilities for reading comprehension and assessment. Okay, so I'm going to start first. If you can see, well, it's very simple. All you do is log in. I use my teacher email. And then once you log in, you'll be taken to a screen where you will type in a topic, subject, and grade level. You can select the language. So this is good for your Spanish speakers if you need to. You can type in the outcomes as well. So I've copied and pasted standards that I want the questions to sort of focus on from the reading passage. And then I copy and paste or type in your reading selection in the middle. And then you'll be able to export that to any of your preferred platforms, quizzes, Kahoot. Canvas doesn't work quite yet, but it might later at a later time. Google Forms, Slides, any of those formats. And then your sets are always saved automatically. You can throw them away using the trash icon, or you can keep them for maybe next year and revise them later. Okay, so I do want to show you QuestionWell. I'm going to go to the QuestionWell site and I'm going to sign in with Google. I'm going to use my teacher email to do that. And then you can see here it has an example in the field already to give you an idea of what you could include. I can suggest using this maybe for a substitute teacher. Maybe you have a reading that you want them to read, but you don't have any questions for it. This would be a good tool that you could use for that. Once you do put in the information, you can save it. So I'm going to go ahead and select one of the ones that I've saved in the past. You can see that it tells you how many questions are related to the standards that you've included, and you have the opportunity to edit them if you need to, throw them away, whatever. When you're done, you can select the ones that you want to export, and again, export them to any of the tools that you might be most comfortable with. So what I do want to do is give you that opportunity to explore. Again, if you're kind of at a loss for how to use it, I don't do too much bookwork or reading in my class, but it is a good tool for when I am out with a guest teacher. I can find a reading passage on anything from digital citizenship, as you saw there, to maybe a famous uh, computer historical figure or something like that, and then I can have QuestionWell create questions from there. So I do want to give you time to explore, and I'll be here to answer any questions that you might have about QuestionWell or about AI in general.